Wow, man. Season 8 is already upon us. Can you believe this? And retiring with almost 1,500 games played, not quite, is Scott Hartnell, teammate in Philadelphia, Martin Havlat, calls it a career. You can see the goals and points totals and games played these guys have amassed through their careers. Christian Ehrhoff retires as a Capital. Trevor Daley with the Toronto Maple Leafs. There it is, finally, Mike Camilleri. I was thinking I was going to have to trade for this guy out of Calgary. So Johnny Gaudreau can have his number 13 with the Flames. Alexander Burrows, Stoll with the Canadiens. So Jarrett Stoll gets a Stanley Cup, and as I predicted during the celebration, he does retire. We'll talk all about our amazing Season 7 in a moment. Lee Stempniak retires. Ruutu, Higgins, Simmons, Gleason. Man, Carolina are going to be losing some players here. They're going to have to restack the cupboard there with all of these veterans, calling it a career. Gleason, so Clarkson, not Larson, Fleischman, Gilbert, David Booth. Man, the names just come right off the board, don't they? I'm going to keep scrolling. There's so many names, and I want to get on to other pastures here with this episode. But you can just see the names that are coming off the board. Chad LaRose, with Buffalo. He was a Stanley Cup champion once upon a time in the GM mode with your Canadiens. I believe scored the Stanley Cup clinching goal in the first season that we won the Cup, did he not? One of those. We won so many Stanley Cups, I can't tell you which one. I'm pretty sure that he scored the clinching goal. Is basically what I'm getting at. And now you can see that the names are less and less. But Jordy Ben, just 310 games played. I don't believe that. I just can't believe that. At least in this game world, maybe it's more believable. And Comiskey. So we did sign Comiskey in our AHL squad, and he retires after barely playing any NHL games. I mean, honestly, to play one game in the NHL is an impressive feat nonetheless. The goaltenders, that's defensemen. There's the goaltenders. So, any notable names? Yes, Ryan Miller, Cam Ward finally hangs him up. So there's 3 really noteworthy goaltenders that are off the board already by Season 8. They're calling it a career. This is a big one for all of these organizations because, well, I know that Buffalo has Makarov, and so they should be fine, at least in terms of having a good starting goaltender. Carolina has Bolton Poliot to replace Cam Ward. We'll take a look at these 3 teams and what they got in the net behind these netminders that have called it a career. And Pekka Rinne just could not quite capture that Stanley Cup with the Predators. You would know all about it as they run into your Canadiens in the most recent Season 7 Stanley Cup final. He came shy of that Stanley Cup, did get him to the final, much like in real life, but just that little bit too short. Other goaltenders off the list, you can see them here. And after that, it's only a handful of names really coming off the board as far as goalies are concerned. But Cam Ward's a big one because he's been a big part of the Hurricanes, and we know the heated intensity that the Hurricanes and Canadiens have gotten into in the playoffs. I would like to see the Hurricanes make another deep run, but will that be possible without the likes of Cam Ward? So I just want to get into it. Before we get into the draft, I was supposed to record a lot sooner than I am right now. And I am recording this just after the Olympics have concluded, after the gold medal game has been played. So as an American, obviously, I'm very thrilled the Americans take home the gold medal from the Olympics, but it was a very well-played game by the Canadiens. And for any of my Canadian viewers, I'm sure you're very disappointed and not thrilled over the result of the game, but it was a well-played game, I thought, by both teams. And I always love a intense contest between 2 great hockey nations and rivals of one another, especially when it comes down on the Olympic stage. I just thought it was an amazing game. My thoughts, I do think it should have been decided at 5-on-5. It should have absolutely been decided at 5-on-5, but you know what? Both teams are in the same boat at 3-on-3, and for the Canadiens, I mean, you can put Makar, McKinnon, and McDavid on the ice at 3-on-3. I don't know how you could complain with 3-on-3. But yeah, it should have been decided at 5-on-5. But I'm a very happy American cheering on my team and my nation on the biggest stage, internationally speaking anyway. But the reason I haven't been able to record as soon as I've wanted to is I've had a rough string of days. And it was my birthday weekend as well. So that makes it even sweeter. The gold medal makes it even better because it was my birthday weekend. But I had a really rough one because, I mean, somebody has been playing some music really loud around here. And I could not get any sleep at all. Like, it was just like the bass coming through the walls. I could not sleep at all. So I have been completely out of it for a string of days here. Where I was going to come home yesterday and get an episode done, and I had to take a nap. I had no energy at all, and I don't even have great energy as I sit down to do this one, but a recording at some point does have to get done. It was nice to take a nice little break between the end of season 7 and now beginning season 8, but it's time to get on with season 8 and begin recording episodes, do a off season and a season simulation. But we have to go into the draft, and there's not a whole lot to ponder with this draft. We don't have a pick in the first round. I can't see beyond the first round. I can tell you who's got the first pick. It's going to be Chicago. What year are we in? Oh boy, I don't even know. Are we in the 2020 season? This is actually not far off from the Bedard lottery. I wish the game would create Connor Bedard. But it's going to, and oddly enough, the teams that are vying for the top pick are Chicago, San Jose, and Anaheim. I don't remember if Columbus was even in on Bedard, even had a chance at Bedard in the lottery. I'm going to have to go back and do some history research on who was in on the lottery picks for Bedard, but I'm pretty sure it was San Jose and Anaheim that were definitely in on it. And look at the draft picks San Jose has. They have the 2nd overall, the 15th overall, they have the 19th and the 25th overall picks in this one. And of course, we sent Florida the 30th overall pick in this first round. There's probably not a whole lot to this first round. So I'm going to guess... I mean, I can definitely... By the way, this is the 2020 draft is what it said, I think. Is that what it said? What draft year is this? This is the 2020. Okay, so that's what we're in. We're in the 2020 draft. We just completed the 2020 Stanley Cup Final, which didn't really happen in real life, I guess, until August. It was kind of a weird one because the NHL went into a bubble. But, I can definitely take a look at what people are putting on the trade block. So let's step away and I will do that. Okay, well, I have just decided I couldn't find anything at all on the trade block and nothing that could really make sense, nothing of appropriate value. So... if I quick sim, I can quick sim the first round. So there's the first round. We're going to have to look at... well, I can just take a picture with my phone. So if I get my phone out and grab the camera, I can take a picture and boom, you can probably hear that. There's your first round picks. And we'll have to take a look at at least the top 7 players. And when we get to the contract screen, again, do not have a second round pick. This draft is... bunk. This draft really doesn't matter. And we don't have a 3rd round pick? Oh my, this draft literally doesn't matter now. Okay, so there's your round 2 picks. We're going to continue, and we're going to just auto draft the rest of the way. It doesn't matter. The game will just draft the best players possible. Going back from round 7, we draft the Mole with the final pick of the 2020 draft. It goes to the Canadiens. Malik, I don't know who that is. Oh, there was a guy with the last name Ovechkin there going to Philadelphia in round 6. Round 5, we draft a guy with the last name Craig. Brewer in round 4. We did not have a 3rd round pick. So round 3, round 2, round 1, going backwards there. Did I see M. Betts was drafted in the first round by somebody? And so someone drafted Mookie Betts. Yes, I know, the re-sign phase. This should be a really easy offseason, so this could actually be a pretty short video. Something needed to get recorded and needs to get uploaded, especially so I can explain myself that I have gotten behind on recording this series and getting it prepared to be uploaded for good enough reasons. But anyway, we're going to go to the contract screen, and I'm still kind of loopy as I record this. I'm kind of out of it, so it may not be the most full-fledged episode ever. And I don't have a ton of brain power to get through, especially the contracts negotiations crap. But This should be a straightforward offseason for us. So Matt Duchene, he's 29. These guys are in the prime of their career or just exiting their prime. I would say that could probably be the case for Subban. He's starting to fall off a little bit, isn't he? He's an 88 overall now at 31. I don't know. Subban's locked up for 2 more seasons. So this cup window is wide open for 2 more seasons guaranteed. We got this 2020-2021 season that we are about to embark on. Duchene is signed through this season and the next season. Then he's a UFA. LeBlanc is signed even longer than that. You can see LeBlanc long-term deal to the future. So he's not a concern. Subban is locked up like Duchene for 2 seasons in a row. Pacioretty locked up for 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Pacioretty is locked up for a really long time at 31 years of age. And like I said, the back end of that contract should be easily tradable. And we can probably retain salary if need be. Then there's Victor Hedman in the prime of his career. He's locked up like Pacioretty is, except Pacioretty has 1 more year on his deal before it expires. Then there's Brad Marchand, who I was concerned about re-signing, but he's got 2 full years, so that works out, takes him to a good timeline, much like Subban and Duchene. His expires after 2 more seasons. Sukai Ming should be a long-haul commitment. It is a long-term commitment with Sukai Ming, not a concern. And he is reaching the prime of his career. He's just got to be able to stay healthy for a full season. That's the main thing for Sukai Ming. Lars Eller, my $5 million. I mean, he could basically play second line, but he's playing third line center because of the depth of this team. And he's well worth the $5 million. That contract will expire after this upcoming season. Got to keep him on board. Teemu Pulkkinen for 2 more seasons, much like Duchene and all those other guys above that. Hacken, I'm not even sure of the pronunciation. AHL things. Bigris, Glenn Cross, Russell Glenn Cross. So these are all players that are not really notable or noteworthy that are on contracts that do not expire yet, by the way. So they don't expire. Now we're getting to guys that are not signed or they are expiring. So Zimmerman, I could sign, but I mean, he's 2.5 stars. So now I've got a whole lot of work to do with figuring out what players need to be given a shot. Do we give Christopher Reed a shot? So Christopher Reed, 20 years old. I'm going to just do a deep dive into looking at some of my prospects because I do anticipate this being a very quick offseason. So we'll do a deep dive into Christopher Reed. He's a 2018, so a couple years ago, 2nd round draft pick, 42nd overall. And I mean, hard to really get a read on him. Hard to get a read on him, right? It is hard to get a read on him because we haven't signed him yet, and he hasn't played any games in our organization. I feel like maybe you take a chance, you give him a contract, give him a shot, see if he grows. So I'm just going to take a shot at that. It's just a shot in the dark. Jacob Sherrow, I don't even know when the hell you were drafted. Most of these guys are probably not going to pan out. Wedderburn, I drafted this guy, I remember him. So he is a 2018 3rd round pick, and we took him just because of the name. Wedderburn, I mean, you can't get a better name than that. I think you got to give him at least a contract based on the name. He plays D. I don't think he's going to grow. I mean, he's 54 overall at 20. Reed is 20 years old. He's a few overall points better. Lucas Voivoda, it's no question about it. You're getting a full-on contract. Wait a minute. Why is he... Give him 3 years? 4 years. Oh, 3 years. So, okay, so wait a minute. I'm so confused. Didn't we sign him to a contract? Whatever. He's basically ready to play in the NHL next season. I'm going to bank on it. Draisaitl, we're going to tender the qualifying offer. He should accept it. He's 67 overall at 24. And yes, he's 4 red star. He's probably not going to grow. But I want to keep Draisaitl around because on the off chance that he does grow, he could come in handy. Same thing with Ryan Kujawinsky. I mean, you guys could bump up into the 70s. You could be nice depth options in the future if you guys see a spring in growth at any point in the future. Same thing with Kohlberg. Kamayev needs a new contract, and I'm willing to do that with Kamayev. And that's a little tough. That's a little steep. But you know what? He's played in my top 6. So I forgot what the 80% rule... Yeah, I think it's the 80% rule, but honestly, I'm just going to come down to like 2.5 I can't come down too far, but I'm going to come down to like 2.105 for 3 years and see what Kamayev thinks of that. If he rejects it, we revisit and negotiate again. Damon Severson going to need a new contract, and this is going to be in the millions. Yeah, oh my God. Damon, you know what? If he's asking for that much money, he's 25. He might grow a bit. That's a lot of money to hand to a D. But, I mean, 85 overall. He bumped up. He grew. We got to give Damon Severson. I gotta find out what 80% of that is. So it's saying that I can go down to like 4.7. I'm not willing to chance it, so I'm going to go down to 5.115 by 4 years. I mean, Damon Severson is worth it. Now, I got to watch my cap space because I'm going to run out of it quickly. Monahan, please be a... Oh, these guys all want money. They all want money. And I have to give it to them. Monahan, what if I go 2.060 million? I don't want to play around with some of these contract offers. This may not be the smooth sailing offseason that I thought it would be. Michael Bournival, I need the depth. I need the depth down in the A. And we just won the Calder Championship in the AHL with the team that I assembled for the AHL. So I'm going to keep a lot of these guys around as long as they're not too old. So like Ellis there, he's 28 years old. Rutkowski, like the last name, 74 overall, 2-way D. I mean, these guys just simply be in the minors so we can have a team. Just fill out a team. Some of you guys, like Patrick Holland, you could get called up if we get injuries. It could very well happen. Brian Dumoulin, I'm just going to give him, please be 1 year. He wants 2, you know, fair play. 2 years, and you can stay in the A, be a simple call-up option. Torrey Krug, okay, so this one, I don't know what's going to be on the free agent market. I'm willing to almost go to market with Krug because you can see he's 3.5 White Star, 82 overall. He's not going to get a whole lot better than that. I want to hope that maybe I can save some money in free agency and get a defenseman that is maybe not quite the same overall rating as Krug, but basically is just as good as Krug and cheaper. I'm going to try to save money in that department. So I'm going to wait on Krug. Natanen, bring back. Werik, he was my call. I got to bring back Werik. I mean, he was called up so many times due to injury in the simulation that we did in Season 7. Tamernis is a no-brainer. This is a, you ask for it, you basically got it. I'm going to guess, I'm going to wager, I don't know what 80% of that is. I'm going to wager that I can probably go down to 4.5, here you go, 4.555 by 4 years to Tamernis. I'm just giving them the term that they want. Simon Hjalmarsson, please be cheap. Please be cheap. Please be. That's going to do it for me. That'll do it. I'm just going to come down a little bit on the value. I'm barely saving any money by doing it, but Hjalmarsson is a staple of my bottom 6, and it would save me so much money by being able to do that. I love the Quaalude. I'm going to keep him around. Got to keep him around just for the nickname. Fun vibes there with the Quaalude. Lievo, keep him around for a year. He wants 2 years, that's fine. Whatever. Minor league stuff, man. Nygren, I don't, 31 years old, and he's a D. I mean, in my opinion, you got to fill out a squad. And I'm just fine with bringing back the same squad. Weston to play in the A. A call-up option as well. Fine with bringing him back. Corbinian Holzer. How many players do we have? Isn't Holzer the guy that was on Winnipeg and we signed him in free agency or something like that? Dale Weiss. He was on the NHL roster that won the cup. He was. That much money? No. 78 overall. Get out of town. Ryan White, please be cheap. Oh, 1 million? You know, Ryan White's been a staple of this team since Season 1. I don't care if he's been playing on the NHL squad or not. He's been a staple of the organization since Season number 1. We'll sign Patrick McNeil. I got to start advancing the day on some of these. Chris Butler, I'm letting him go, but I'm curious what he wants. I do want to see what he's asking for. Yeah, no. No, I'm just going to go get depth in free agency. Colin Fraser has got to come back. You know what? Fraser is 35. I'm going to go get a depth center in free agency. Forget about that one. Same thing there with Koska, Ole. You know, I'm going to sign this guy back for one more season. And that actually works out. What does Koska want out of curiosity? Okay, you know what? I might do it with Koska. 1 year or whatever. What was he asking for? What did I give him? I don't even know whatever. I gave him some money, a contract offer. Goaltenders. My brain's already hurting. So Price is good. That's not an issue. Price is down to an 88 though. He's an 88 from a 90. He's getting worse. He's getting worse. And yet, look at this. Didn't he have the best regular season numbers? No, his numbers got worse. His regular season numbers got worse. But his playoff stats, look at this. He had the best playoffs he's had in the last 3 appearances. 2.3 GAA, 930. I mean, the guy's still got it. 32 years old. He's 32, so he'll be, let's see, what, 1, 2 more seasons. So he'll be basically 34 or 35 when that contract ends. I don't know when Price's birthday is and all that stuff. We got some goaltending stuff to figure out here, don't we? If Pavlik wants a reasonable contract for 1 year, 2 years, I don't want to do 2 years. I'm going to look at I don't know what's going to hit the free agent market, but I might look at the free agent market. Budai's 37. Just go retire, bud. Just go retire. Fucali will give you another. Okay, Fucali. Man, you guys are going to be taking some damn money out of my pockets. I got to keep Fucali around. What if he grows? But what if he doesn't? It may take him a while to grow. I'm really put in a pressure situation here. What do? I think I'm going to dump both Budai and Pavlich. Budai is 37. I guess you could keep Budai around to mentor Fucali, but I think the range should be given to Fucali and we just go get why don't we sign this Shrimp kid to play in net and we just give Fucali all the minutes. How about we do that? We're going to do that. That's an easy decision for me to make. And Fucali can take the boatload of games in the A. And then I got to go get a backup for Carey Price. And then I think I just basically need a depth center in free agency and a backup for Carey Price. If we advance the day and everybody likes the contracts that I offered them. And then I end up with cap space. So Christopher Reed, we got 25 of these. Strap tight. We got 25 of these. Christopher Reed accepts. Ryan White. Okay, so the easy ones we're getting out of the way. There's your goaltender that I offered the contract. He's got his ELC. You're damn right. It's pretty generous, buddy. You're lucky to be given a contract. Natanen, Holland, Ellis, Bourneval, Quailer. My nickname for him, the Quaalude. McNeil, Negrin, Werrick, Ole, Holzer, Dumoulin, Koska, Jalmerson, Weston, Lievo. Lucas Voivoda renews. That's a big one. I think he's going to be NHL ready this season. I really do. I have that good vibe about Voivoda. You may not even need a depth center when this is all said and done. Sean Monahan renews. Fucali, Kamaev. I'm starting to cross my fingers, man. Damon Severson, that's good. We saved it with the 80% rule. Rutkowski, Tamernis. Everything went smooth sailing. I'm $3 million in cap space. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm screwed. I am so screwed on cap space. I don't have anything to sign a free agent. I gotta look at my team. All right, let me just simulate it. Oh, gosh. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Let me just figure out what day I am. Simulate a day ahead in advance. Well, this is what I get for just throwing contracts out toward everybody that needed a new contract. But, I mean, to be honest with you, I like my squad. And we have a squad that we know can simulate well and do well in the playoffs if they can get there. I just now need a really cheap backup option, and I gotta look at my... Well, first of all, let me see. GM options, I gotta look at my squad as it stands today. I believe if we sort this by forwards and we sort by overall, I should have like 12 forwards ready to go. So let's just double check this. I got 1 with Pacioretty, 2 with Duchesne, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's good. 8 with Polkinen. That's absolutely true. 9. 10 with Monahan. Yes. 11 with Lievo. You know, you could play in my NHL lineup, but I think it's going to be Voivoda. Yeah, with Voivoda in there, that's like 12. You got Ole could play on the 4th line, or Dale Weiss. We didn't offer him the contract, though. So there are definitely, and I'm banking on Vovoda reaching the NHL this season. I am. So there are players there. We could go get like a super cheap fourth line $1 million option if we needed to in free agency. Just go get yourself a 1 year deal. Let me just look at what I got at center, okay? So sorted by center. So at center, what we're gonna have: Duchesne first line center, Ming second line, third line Eller, fourth line Monahan. I like the vibe of that. And then when Vovoda, if he's ready, he could play fourth line center. So we're good at center. We would just need a wing. So we would need a depth wing. We know that we got Marchand, Pacioretty, Jalmerson. Those are wings. And Kamayev is in there as a wing. Where's my right wing? Kamayev, Polkinen. So we're good. We may want to go get a wing, but we definitely need a goaltender. We absolutely need to go. Defense is taken care of. On defense, it's going to be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Krug's not coming back. So, Krug not coming back. I didn't think about that. I know I'm going to need a defenseman or try to ride it out with Weston on the blue line. We gave Dumoulin. It's going to be Dumoulin. We gave Dumoulin that contract. So Dumoulin is going to be playing in the NHL this year. It's got to be Dumoulin. And then we just need to go get like a super cheap, like 80 overall defenseman that's like taking a $1 million deal. So I need a defenseman and I need a goaltender. That's my shopping list for sure. 100%. Rolling into free agency. Oh my God. Krejci wants $10 million. He's seeking $10 million for 1 year. At 34 years old, man, David Krejci, the stones on this guy. Who's going to offer him that contract? There are no teams interested. JT Miller, Brendan Smith, Tanev, Clefbaum, these guys all reaching the free agent market. Well, I have no money to spend. I do have money to spend, but it's not a lot. Is that Mike Weber? That is Mike Weber. I was thinking of making a trade with whoever he was on, but his contract was expiring, but they were giving him away. I forgot what team it was already. I need a D, so let's sort this by defenseman just to make this a lot faster and a lot easier. I need a defenseman, and I need you know what? I need a goaltender. So who's on the market? Pavlich reaches, but is there a cheaper option than Pavlich? With no teams interested. Enroth is definitely interesting to me. Joseph David, Bartosak. You know what, Richard Olberg, it might be your lucky day. You might get a shot to join the Montreal Canadiens just because you're cheap on the dollar value and it's a 1 year deal. And Carey Price is going to play the boatload of games anyway. Now, I may regret this decision in the simulation if he plays some of these games and he sucks. we may be hinging on Olberg to help this team make the playoffs. But you know what? I got to have money available to spend also on a depth defenseman. Now, I need like I like the idea of a $1.125 million D. Does not scare me. That's pretty nice. Colin Miller, $1.16 million. Nathan Beaulieu, we can bring him back. He wants 2 years though, and I gotta have more cap space than what I got right now. I cannot go spending a lot of money on a defenseman, so it's gonna be very slim pickings. We could try Jack Hillen. He's 34 though. Mark Frazier, Michael Jordan. Yeah, yes. Michael Jordan could be an interesting one. Justin Falk. Falk would save you some money there, but I do want a defenseman that's 80 overall, at least. The overall rating is kind of important to me here, but also we're looking at decent skater and a good defense category are the two main ones, and someone that's disciplined. So Murphy kind of ticks some of those boxes. What about Miller? Your discipline is not great, but your offensive awareness, very good. Decent defense category and an okay skater. Need a better skater than that, but I guess at 1.5 or 1.1, you know, you can't have too many crazy expectations. What about Justin Falk? It's just kind of okay. Jordan. I think it's going to be Jordan. I mean, look at the defense category. 85, 80 shot blocking, 85 stick checking. Good discipline. His poise is a little low, but his skating, it's around the mid 80s. I could do with this. I could do with this player. He's 6'1", 196, and he's cheap on the dollar value. Mark Frazier. doesn't tick as many boxes as Jordan does. Jack Hillen. I like the discipline on Jack Hillen. And the skate. You know what? I like Jack Hillen. Decent skating here. And a good defense cat. It might be Jack Hillen. Does he want 1 year? He wants 1 year. We're going to come back to that one. Orlov. Good discipline. Great skater. And his defense awareness, his defensive ability, not as good as Hillen's. Chris Butler, which we already have been familiar with him on our team. Jonas Jonlund. Doesn't appeal to me on a skating perspective. Nope. Ryan Murphy, no, he was with Carolina, so he reached his free agency. You know what? His defense category is pretty good, even though it's a 3.5 White Star. I might try Ryan Murphy at D here. His skating is pretty good. His discipline's great. You know, I'm going to try Ryan Murphy. His offense category is amazing as well. We're going to try Ryan Murphy. We're going to pry him out of free agency, and it's a cheap value contract. So it's going to probably take a couple of days, but I put in my offers. I'm curious to see where Krejci, Miller, some of these free agents sign. We'll look at transactions before we get over to the and done with this video. Because I'm telling you, yep, Ryan Murphy accepts. Now, we're familiar with Murphy, and I had some chirps for him when he was with the Carolina Hurricanes. So from those playoff series with Carolina, we're familiar with Murphy. Alberg accepts, so we got our squad. Now, what does that leave me with in cap space? No freaking way. I still got cap space. Well, I don't want to... You know what? Let me go look at... Well, I'll tell you what. What's his name? Krejci has signed somewhere. I don't know where it is. You know what I didn't think about? I didn't think about RFAs, but there's probably nothing in the RFA. There is Nazarov. Who was he drafted by? The Carolina Hurricanes. Back in 2016. He's 23. 2016 and he's 23. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Montreal. Oh my. Who's he drafted by? The Blue Jackets in the 4th round. They got this guy in the 4th round, and he's a 4 Red Star potential. LeBlanc. We could have another LeBlanc on the squad. We got to look at potential. It's the potential that you want to see. Hayden. There's CJ Garcia. Now you can see the overall ratings are not really very impressive the further down this list that we go. I don't see anything on the RFA market that appeals to me. No offer sheet. Now, what about wingers? Can we get a decent wing? See, it's already fallen off without paying a boatload of money to get the wing that I don't see any wingers that appeal to me here. I really don't. I think we're just going to run with the squad that we have here. Okay, so the transaction highlights from the off season. This has been a pretty boring episode, I guess. But, you know, we're pretty deep in the GM mode and there wasn't a whole lot to re-sign. But this is all the players that were either signed or re-signed. Well, I guess this doesn't really go that far back. It goes back to... I thought we signed more players than this. We signed more players than that. Anyway, I don't know. So all the big free agent acquisitions. I'm trying to find out who the big names are that went off the board. This is from August of 2020. So the big names are well and truly off the board by now. But we're going to scroll through real super quick until we get to the really big names. I'll pause at any names that stand out to me as well. But I'm looking for who signed in free agency. I can't think of his name right now. Oh, there you go. Nazarov has negotiated a new deal with Carolina. So we looked at potentially offer sheeting him. I wasn't really ever seriously considering an offer sheet. But I'm trying to find out who signed Krejci. I still don't know who that was and when he signed. Boone Jenner goes to Anaheim. I love the name, though. Boone Jenner has an awesome name. Freaking great first name. Jack Hillen does go to Minnesota. We contemplated signing Jack Hillen in the offseason. Michael Jordan goes to Pittsburgh. Contemplated signing him. Any other names? Any names off the board here? Goaltender Peter Helbling. I don't know if that is to back up Pouliot. We could look at the Carolina Hurricanes. We do need to look at the teams that lost goaltenders, which would be Buffalo, Nashville, and Carolina. So at some point in this episode, I'd like to look at that, if I can remember. Benoit Pouliot goes to Ottawa. Mason Raymond as well to Ottawa. So now we're starting to get some more familiar names. Craig Smith to the Colorado Avalanche. Tatar the Islanders. Pavlich with Nashville. That makes sense, actually. So our backup goaltender from Season 7 is gone. He's in Nashville now with the retirement of Pekka Rinne taking place. Victor Arvidsson, weirdly enough, actually goes to Boston as a free agent here. Ricard Raquel, Vincent Trocheck to Carolina. Well, he actually did get traded to Carolina in the real world and actually played there. So that's very interesting with Trocheck going to Carolina. Joseph David, Victor Stahlberg to the Islanders. Any other names here? Nathan Beaulieu goes to Carolina. So Beaulieu, who I would have considered bringing back if he was cheaper. I would have considered it. We let him go a long time ago. Mike Weber, who I was thinking about trading for at the draft, but it just didn't make sense for me. He goes to the Senators. Jonas Enroth. Okay, Zbynek McCulloch to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Brendan Smith. JT Miller with the Detroit Red Wings. Krejci signs in Calgary. Is there a way to look at that contract? There is in the contract screen. Big shocker, the contract screen. You can see it. It's a 1-year deal, but I think Calgary paid big time for Krejci. They will have a fun squad, though. They got Johnny Gaudreau, and now an 87 overall Krejci to center Johnny Gaudreau. Ryan Murphy, of course, signs here. Olberg signs here. That was our 2 free agent signings. Ryan Whitney to Detroit. Torrey Krug signs a free agent deal with the Islanders. I had to let him go. Couldn't afford or make it make sense for me to bring back Torrey Krug. Just couldn't do it. Palisade to Pittsburgh. Kruger, Nemeth. Now, what I'm wondering is there's Bozak off the board. Clefbaum to Minnesota. Tanev. Just going to keep going down the list. And that's it. That's the end of the list. Now, were there any trades? Player pick and trading. Not really in the offseason. Getzlaf to call. Okay, yes. There was one. That's a big one. That's a blockbuster move. Getzlaf goes to the Avalanche to get Picard, Menard. That rhymes. And Hendry from the Avalanche. So don't the Avalanche, we're going to have to look at the Avalanche now. Aren't they kind of stacked up? Well, my, oh my. I got a lot of teams to look at. Gaudreau is making $8.290 against the cap with that 1-year, $10.3 million deal. That's a big move for the Flames. But look at what this makes the Flames look like. We got a lot of teams to check out here. Look at what this does for the Flames. Gaudreau on the wing, centered by Krejci, and then there's Stepan. Baertschi is still here. He's an 85. Brody Giordano is about to retire soon. I mean, probably looking at the last years of Giordano in the NHL. Valkonen, Wotherspoon, Bozon, Glenn Cross. I mean, this is a solid team. I would expect them to have a good regular season. Maybe a deep playoff run. This team is deep. Now, they are older. There's some guys here. Jones, Hoodler, 36. We looked at Giordano. Glenn Cross, 37. This is an aging team. Can I see the average age of this Flames roster? I have no idea. But this is the Flames as they stand on August 20th, 2020 in the game world. So, and they're a deep team. This is a really freaking deep team. Unbelievable the depth on this squad. I mean, look at how far you have to go down to see the 79 overalls. That's how good they are. All skaters, anyway. At least as far as all skaters. Their goalie would be Varlamov, Enroth. They got Hovinen. This is an embarrassment of riches, Calgary. What are you trying to do here? Look at these goalies they got signed. They have... Is that 6 goalies? That is 6 goalies signed that are all 80 or overall or better. 84 with Varlamov, 81, 82, 81, 82, 82 to Brossoit. 6 goalies all signed. What do you need all these goalies for? Calgary. They're just stocking the cupboard full of goaltenders. Who's the starting goaltender on this team? It's obviously going to be Semyon Varlamov. But that'll be a team to pay attention to in the regular season sim when we get to that point. And we got to look at... Well, we're looking at goaltenders, aren't we? We got to look at the Carolina Hurricanes, and this makes sense. So Cam Ward in the offseason retires. They signed Helbling out of the free agent pool, right? I think he was a free agent signing. So hopefully he brings the bling bling in the goal crease for the Carolina Hurricanes there as they add Helbling as a backup goaltender for Pouliot. The goaltending depth here is not terrible. There's an 81 in the A looking to come up through the ranks. There's Alt Schuler. Actually, remember when he was a real prospect for Carolina? That's way back in the olden days now. So they do have some decent 10D depth below that. But Pouliot, unless he needs to have a huge growth year. He really needs to spring up. We're familiar with him. We saw him for a very small sample size in the playoff games that we played against the Carolina Hurricanes. He is a 2013, so that would be the first season of the GM mode. So he was drafted the very first draft we ever did by Carolina, 5th overall. He's played 47 games his previous season. I'd say Carolina is fine with Pouliot in the net. Now, it's the playoff stats that you want to see. I mean, he's barely gotten into any games because of Cam Ward. Well, this will be the season. This is going to be the opportunity for him to jump in and say, I can do it. I can carry the load. I can be the Cam Ward replacement for the Hurricanes. Nashville has Hellberg to replace Pecorine and Pavlich to potentially back up and mentor Hellberg. I mean, they're not that far apart on age anyway. Hellberg's just 20. He's 29 years old. What's his NHL experience to this point in the game? He's played this many seasons. Okay, so 45 is a good chunk of games. Rene was already going. He was dropping off the cliff already. Probably is what was happening, and he did get into some playoff games. Did we see him in the Stanley Cup final? Didn't we? Yes, we did. Remember it was the game in Nashville where we put up 9 on the Predators. We saw Hellberg in that game in the Stanley Cup final. I didn't mean to back out of that screen. Well, nonetheless, I was done looking at the goaltenders there. I wanted to look at the Avalanche, but why? Why did I want to see the Avs? They have Galchenyuk, who's on the final year of his deal. Expiring contract, 90 overall. I mean, they made out like gangbusters on this deal. I think even though they don't have a cup to show for it, and they've met us in the Stanley Cup final, I think that they got a great deal out of this. They're going to re-sign Galchenyuk. It's a no-brainer. Now, his goal scoring should be more than that, but 69 points in 79 games, not too bad. Did they make the playoffs last year? They did. 7 games played. He had 5 points, 1 goal. I think Galchenyuk's going to pay off in spades for the Avalanche in this GM mode. Eventually, it's going to pay off for them. They got a stacked squad here, too. 90, 89 Brent. They got Brent Seabrook on this team. That's right. They traded for Getzlaf. That's right. They got Getzlaf in the offseason, but he's got 1 year left on that deal. This could be it for Ryan Getzlaf at 35 years old and 2.5 White Star potential now at this point in this phase of things. I mean, you can see the goal scoring is not insane or the point scoring. I mean, 48 games played though for Getzlaf the previous season, and those Ducks have not been doing anything the entire time that he was there. So this is it. This is kind of a last-ditch effort for Getzlaf. The Avalanche are going all in. McKinnon is now 24 years old, 86 overall. He's going to bump up there. He's going to keep growing. They're going to be stacked. I mean, this team is already stacked. This is what is this? How many players on the screen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on the screen and 90 to 85 overalls all on the screen before I've even scrolled past Eric Johnson here. Then I scroll past Johnson. It's Gabriel Landeskog, 85 overall. Valtteri Filppula, 84 overall. Tyson Barrie, Victor Rask, Tyson Ness, Tyson Barrie and Tyson Ness. Jamie McGinn is here. Craig Smith, Simmons, McGinn. They got Brock McGinn. Wait, do they have both McGinn? They have the McGinn brothers. No way. They got Brock and Jamie McGinn. The game knows something. The GM in Colorado in the game knows something. So they unite the McGinn brothers in Colorado. This is a pretty good squad. What they got going on in goal, though? What is how? Oh my god, Eric Brassard. Is this remember when we faced the Avalanche in the playoffs in the Stanley Cup final, and I was confused as to why they didn't put one of their goaltenders in there? Was it Laura Kynan that they didn't play? I can't remember who the goaltender was. Laura Kynan has not played. No, Laura Kynan has not played in the NHL yet. That's crazy. Not a single. I guess if I do this, Laura Kynan, that's Spencer Martin. Why did it not pull up Laura Kynan? There's Laura Kynan. Okay. So it would tell you if I do this, see no NHL games played yet. That's kind of insane. At 85 overall, it may have been Brassard. He's played 241 career games. So it may have been Brassard, who's 90 overall. This guy's better than Carey Price on that metric at this point in the GM mode. This guy could very well carry the Avalanche to a beast of a season. I'm just throwing the stats on here real quick for you. Yeah. Yeah, he played 14 games in 16-17. Did we not meet the Avalanche in the final that year? I thought we played the Avalanche in that Stanley Cup final. So they are a team that are locked and loaded for a big season ahead. And there's Mike Smith. He's been consistently like one of the best goaltenders in the GM mode season simulations that we've seen. I mean, look at the numbers, ungodly numbers. Coming off of a 37-year-old last season, he's 38 now, Mike Smith. And the playoff stats from last year as well, in 11 games played, he was not the problem for the Phoenix Coyotes. Oh, yes, the last team that I needed to look at. Ryan Miller finally retired. That leaves Campbell and Makarov. So the Sabres are in good hands here. I think Makarov's going to be a fine enough, decent, capable number one goaltender for the upcoming season simulation that the Buffalo Sabres are going to go through. Could make the playoffs. We got to take a quick look at their squad because we've been very familiar with the Sabres in the playoffs. It didn't go right for him in one game that he appeared in the 1920 playoffs. And I'm going to assume that we were the team that he faced in that playoffs, because did we force Ryan Miller to get pulled at any point? I can't remember. I can't remember that series. The Buffalo Sabres, top to bottom, this team is okay. I mean, on paper, you look at it, nothing here blows me away. We go down, their depth tails off a little bit, but it's not terrible. Their depth is kind of decent. But, yeah, they're not really a team that scare me that much. They might make the playoffs again, but they don't scare me that much. They got $10 million in cap space. I wanted to see what Calgary had in cap space. They still got $3.4 million after giving that contract to Krejci. And, yeah, Sidney Crosby, it's either Crosby or McDavid are probably the best players in the game at this point. I mean, Crosby's a 95 overall at 33 years old. I mean, he's almost as good as you can be at this point. It might be McDavid is a little bit better. But I was looking through to see if I could find any of my created players and give an update on where some of those created players sit. Well, an updated look at Cale McClellan, my created goaltender who was taken by the San Jose Sharks, 2016 first-round pick. He has not played an NHL game, I think. No, he's played two career games. And what did he do in those two career games? Oh, man, 8.85 and a save percentage, a GAA of 3.50. I mean, my brain is turning to mush now. Well, it's more about the AHL stats as of recent. 9.14, and he's a 75 overall. At how old now? 22. He's got plenty of time. I wouldn't be concerned. So much time to grow. Same deal with Kolzak Nikitin, created goaltender of mine. He is a 2015, well, he's undrafted, but that's because he was automatically placed on the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's got 1 year left on the current deal. Has he played any NHL games? He has not played in the NHL yet. AHL stats looking kind of decent there. 931, 2.26 in 35 games played in the most recent AHL season. Ekblad an 80 overall at 24. Maybe he doesn't grow just yet. Vancouver's one to look at. Vancouver, okay, McDavid, not as good as Crosby yet. 23 years old. He was taken in 2015, first overall by Vancouver. 220 career games, 90 goals, 223 career points, so he is better than point per game. Big shocker that would happen for McDavid. 26 career playoff games. And McDavid is like almost on maxed out stats at this point. It's just absolutely insane how good Connor McDavid is. He's played 3 NHL seasons so far in the GM mode. And his most recent playoffs, it went 4 goals, 6 points in 7 games played, -1. So McDavid pretty much not the problem for the Vancouver Canucks. At least through the first round. It went 7 games for Vancouver, and it didn't go right for the Canucks. My other created defenseman, Axel Arnersson, also with the Canucks, taken 2014 in the first round, the year before McDavid. And he's played 200 career games, 24 goals, 71 points, 18 playoff games, 4 points in the playoffs. So how many NHL seasons? He's appeared in 3 different seasons, but just 8 games in his first year that he got into NHL action. 81 before that, and then just played in 36 games this most recent season with the Canucks. What did I say? 1 year left, $1.4 million salary. You know, if he hits the free agent market, which how old is he? 24? If he hits the free agent mark, I'm going to consider going after Arneson. He'll be an RFA, so we're going to have to do a, what do you call it? We're going to have to do an offer sheet to Arneson in the offseason when we get to season 9. I'm going to do an offer sheet for Arneson if the Canucks do not bring him back. Oh, there it is, Dalton Thrower. Dalton Thrower is now 26. Remember, we traded him to Boston. I don't know what season that was, but he is now starting to come into it. He's an 81 overall. Played in all 82 games with Boston, 23 points, 6 goals. And they didn't make the playoffs. Or did they? Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. But Dalton Thrower, he is officially ready to contribute at an NHL level to the Boston Bruins. What did Gallagher do last season? So Brendan Gallagher, what did you do? 81 games played, 21 points, 9 goals. Yeah, I don't have an issue with moving on from Brendan Gallagher. There's his career stats. They didn't make the playoffs, did they? 18. No, they did not make the playoffs. 22 games played with the Canadiens. He had 4 goals, 10 points on that playoff run with us before we traded him to Detroit. Well, Philadelphia has Noah Yosin. That's the goaltender that I created. 24 years young. He has not gotten into any NHL action yet. First round, second overall to Philadelphia. Played in the AHL so far. The numbers, well, they've been coming good for him. 933s, low 2 GAA. He's had very good numbers in the AHL. Phoenix drafted, Loic Arnaud, who's played 140 games in the NHL, 103 points, 6 career playoff games. First overall pick as well, 1 year remaining on that deal. So there are the most recent numbers for Loic Arnaud of the Phoenix Coyotes, one of my created players for the prospects pools. And Caleb Johnson, he went to San Jose. Caleb Johnson, right? No, what? He was drafted by New Jersey, and then I guess he was dealt to San Jose, or somehow he's ended up in San Jose, so I got to pay attention to this. He is now a San Jose Shark. Caleb Johnson, number 96, created player, 111 career games, 36 goals, 2014 first round pick, 21st overall. That's him. Last season, 49 games he appeared in. There are his stats to this point in the A and the NHL. So last season, full-time NHLer, but got into just 49 games played. Playoff stats, hasn't played a playoff game in the NHL yet. So my brain is burned out. I'm burned out. I don't know how long this episode's gone on for, but I feel like it's probably gone on for long enough. I'm telling you, it's been a rough weekend for me, just trying to have energy and get better sleep. And it's coming, but it's just going to take several days of really good sleep for me to get back into a groove and get back into the vibe of doing these GM modes. We've got the off-season pretty much almost wrapped up, and we'll pick up with the season simulation. We also need to take a look at, what did I need to look at? I already forgot what it was. There was something I was going to look at the beginning of the episode, and I forgot what it was. And we'll look at it hopefully ahead of the simulation of the season, which is going to be a long... I'm sure the episode won't be that long itself, but the recording session for doing the season simulation is going to be a long process because I'm sure a whole host of injuries are going to prop up for this team. I got to shut it down and get ready to wind down for bed. It is almost my bedtime, and I've been going at this for an hour and a half for this off-season portion of the video. So we'll see you for the season sim in the next one.